The Adobe Premiere interface operates with a series of panels. For example, this is a panel, this is a panel, this is a panel, and this is a panel. Moving up to the panel in the top left-hand quadrant. If you take a look across the top here, we'll see that this panel also contains tabs. I can navigate to those tabs by clicking on the name of the tab. These tabs are additional panels. Each panel in Premiere operates a lot like a web browser, in that I can have one panel with multiple tabs as a way to consolidate multiple panels into one location. I can customize the number and location of panels on the screen at any time. To move a panel, all I need to do is grab the name of the panel or the tab, click and hold, and drag. As I move, I'll see the cursor highlight different sections of the screen on each panel. Where I drop the panel is going to determine where it's going to go. If I drop it into this middle section or in the upper section where the name of the tab exists, it's going to make this a new tab in this panel. If I drag and drop it onto one of the picture frame sides, so there's a top, a bottom, a right, and a left, and then let go, it's going to make a new panel in between the two existing panels. The arrangement of panels on the screen is called a workspace. If I go to Window and go down to Workspaces, I'm going to find in this top section all the available workspaces inside of Premiere. This includes preset workspaces that come with Premiere, as well as any custom workspaces I've saved. If you're just starting out in Premiere, I highly recommend the Editing workspace as a good place to get started learning the interface. If you've made changes to the Editing workspace already, such as I have here, I can reset this back to the default or factory state by going back to Window, Workspaces, and then down below the workspaces, this option here, Reset to Saved Layout. This is going to reset this workspace back to the last saved state. If you've never saved the workspace, then it'll reset back to the factory default or default state for this workspace. There are a few changes I like to make to this default editing workspace. The bottom left panel is known as the project panel, and you can see there are multiple tabs also in this same location. The first tab over from the project panel is the media browser tab. I actually like to have this tab in the panel above the project panel. I'm going to move it by clicking and holding and dragging and dropping it into this main square here, which will add it as a tab in the upper left-hand panel. While I'm in this panel, I'm going to move over to the left to the metadata tab. Over to the right of the name of the tab, I'm going to find a box with 3 lines in it. This is sometimes known as the hamburger. If I click on these 3 lines, I get a drop-down menu with the options for this panel. I'm going to choose to close this panel. I'm going to move over again to the next tab to the left, which is the audio clip mixer. I'm also going to close this panel. Dropping back down to the bottom left-hand panel. I'm going to start over here on the far left with the project panel and then move to the right across the tabs. I'm going to find the libraries panel and close that one as well. The next one over is the info panel. I'm going to close that one as well. I'm going to move back over to the project tab down here and then move over to the source panel up here. And I think this is a nice bare bones editing workspace to start learning with. If I want to save this customized workspace, I can go back up to Window, Workspaces, and Save as a new workspace. This is going to allow me to name and save my new workspace so that when I go back to Window, Workspaces, I'll find my new custom workspace in the list of available workspaces. Let's take a look down at the project panel. If a panel has many tabs in it, or the panel itself is so small, not all the tabs can be seen, On the far left-hand side, I'll find these two arrows. This is the Overflow menu. If I click on those two arrows, it will show me a list of all the tabs that are available in this panel. If I want to move to one of these panels, simply select the name of it from this list, and it moves over the tab selection to that panel. I can see a list of all of the available panels at any time by going to Window and then dropping down to this list. These are all of the available panels inside of Premiere. If there's a check next to the panel, that means that panel is currently visible. If I want to turn on a panel that's not visible, all I have to do is go to the name of that panel and click on it, and that panel will reveal itself inside of Premiere. At the top of the workspace, you'll find a bar with shortcuts to different workspaces. You can edit this list to only show the workspaces that you want to have quick access to. Go to Window, Workspaces, and then drop down to Edit Workspaces. There are three sections in this list. There's the bar, the Overflow menu, and then Do Not Show. Anything listed under the bar will show up on this shortcut list here at the top of the interface. Anything in the Overflow menu shows up whenever I click on the two arrows up here on the Overflow menu. To move things around, all I need to do is simply drag and drop into the appropriate area. If there is a workspace that is outdated and I don't want to use it anymore, I can simply select that workspace, hit Delete, and delete it from the workspace list. If I want to build a workspace designed for a dual screen setup, I need to take one of the tabs, go to the hamburger, and undock that panel. Once it's undocked, it becomes a free floating panel. I can then simply move this panel onto a secondary screen, and then click and drag tabs into that new undocked panel to build whatever workspace I want to have on my secondary monitor. Then go to Window, Workspace, and save as new workspace. This is my custom dual screen setup. I'll include a link in the description to an image of both of these screens if you want to take a more detailed look at how I set up my dual screen workspace.